Hello everybody out there, I'm Chris.
Mike.
And welcome back to another indie comic book review. And guys, we got nice... Actually, we don't have that many books this week. I think Valiant, we weren't able to grab in time, so we'll probably have a double dose of Valiant next week. But anyway, we have a decent amount of books this week. Got a really big book. One book I have digitally this week instead of physically because it's still on its way. You guys already probably know what that is if you watched the haul. That's the Turtle book, but we'll talk about that last because that's definitely my book of the week and month. So let's start with two books that did not come out this week, which the books this week were released on
April 29, 2015, the last week of April.
That's right, we're going into May. Got big things in May. Anyway, we're starting off with Nightmare World, Volume 2, Chapters 9 and 10.
Yep.
First chapter 9, Ring of Fire.
Yes, and in Ring of Fire, it's mostly like a little bit sketchy. Basically, it's about this guy who is with, like, he sees about these gangs, like Butch or something, and he talks to this guy named Sonora, who kind of, I think, portrayed as Jesus, you know, because he thought that he was dead and everything. So he talks to him about what's going on, and Sonora says, like, you know, I'm here to solve your problems, like, anything you want, you know, just say the words and then I'll do it for you. And he turns to this like monster and stuff like that. And then when he goes, wakes up again, you know, saying that there was this guy named Sanjay, the guy's like saying, we never heard of that person. So it was just like probably a vision to him. But when he goes back to the village, he sees that everything is dead because of probably what he did, because it was a demonic being and all that.
Alright, Chapter 10, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yep, right here. And basically it's about this this old guy who talks with his nephew. Like, his nephew's doing a report about the heroes, and Marcus, I think is his name, tells him about a story about how he was you know, in the veteran, and how he encountered with this how can I say this, like Sasquatch or Bigfoot, and he's thinking that because of the drugs that he took with, I think it was cocaine or something, that he saw this monkey that killed his friend Eric, which was kind of graphic, like just seeing that. But after a while, when he wakes up, he thought that he actually killed Eric, because from what he saw, he didn't think that it was real or anything. And then that's really something that he'll never forget. So basically, his lesson was that he stopped doing drugs ever since that incident happened. So that's basically the whole base of the book. And the artwork was very good in that book as well. That chapter of the story.
Now on to me with Tales of Mystery, Chapter 11. And it opens up with Faust and Mystery finally found Faust, and the fight between them begins. However, Faust made a deal with somebody Mystery has been running from since day one, and that is, if I could say his name right, Lord help me, Ranibus. I always said his name wrong. I look back on a few reviews and I think I said his name wrong, but he made a deal with Ranibus, and Ranibus basically possesses Faust's body, and a fight ensues between Mystery and Ranibus. However, we do see somebody during this fight, towards the end, we see somebody who was in the previous chapter show up, and it looks to be that Faust and this person, I'm not going to spoil who it is, you need to read this book, it's excellent, end up screwing Mystery. The character wanted to kill him, but Faust kind of convinces that person not to, and says there's things. So obviously the either he's still possessed but is now back in human form, or it is actually Faust, and everything goes black. So he's like, there are things worse than death. That is a very abridged version of what happened in this book, in this chapter especially. You guys need to read this book. It's an excellent book if you like supernatural, you know, demons and whatnot, and people going against them. This book is definitely an excellent read.
Yeah,
I
it
really
looks like
like
an excellent
Mr.
read.
I really do like him
Yeah,
as
his
a
character is very interesting.
And I would definitely recommend this book. Hopefully, at some point while we're doing, while I'm reviewing Volume 2, we'll be getting the physical copies. Like I said, we did back the Kickstarter, which was successfully funded. So hopefully, we'll be getting the book soon, and they will definitely show up on the review. If we pass through Carmageddon, I will be giving. Not only will I be showing it in a haul, but I'll obviously be doing Comic Book Corner reviews. As I remember everything in the first volume, there will be Comic Book Corner reviews of both books on Comic Frontline at some point. So there is still something that we can do with the books when we get them physically. One more chapter to go for Volume 1, and then we go into the second volume, which I have actually divided into issues, so be able to review it issue by issue instead of volume chapter by chapter. So that's it for the out of this week books. Now let's get into this week's books.
Yes,
Mike, you're starting.
This one, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I got 2 Zenescope books, starting with Oz, Reign of the Witch Queen, issue number 1 of 6. And this is actually what takes place after what happened in the Oz book, where Dorothy became the new hero of Kansas. And she found that she's the daughter of Zamora. So basically she's a Queen of Oz, just to put it in short terms. And they give you a little bit of a backstory of what happened there, so you're not lost. And the artwork's amazing, by the way. And Tin Man is known to be a traitor to the Munchkins. And Dorothy is talking with Scarecrow about how she feels about being that. And she can't get over the fact that Glinda is dead.
Belinda.
Belinda? That was Glinda. No, Glinda.
Oh, Glenda.
Yeah,
I said Belinda. Glinda, you're right.
Yeah, Glinda. Yeah, I remember that. And she can't get over the fact that she died, and there's these 2 characters. I can't remember the names for the life of me. Abrakias and
to me that looks
and
like...
Zamora. Yeah, they both returned this book, and that was really something. And I don't want to give too much away because there's a lot of things that they do in this book that's going to really impact on Dorothy. So she meets up with King Henry to, claim her Queen of Oz and everything. And she also talks with the minstrel. And after that happens, well, let's just say that Scarecrow finds out Dorothy did something in the end, but I don't think
she's framed for something at the end of this issue.
She's framed. Yeah, I don't want to say by who.
We don't know by who.
No, I meant who she killed. I don't want to spoil who is what I meant to say. You have to read the book to definitely find that out for yourself. And finally, last issue of the Jungle Book, issue 5 of 5. Oh
man. The ending to this book was a shocker.
I was almost... I was literally...
I didn't think it would happen.
I don't want to say, but anyway...
It's the war. We get into the war that broke out in the jungle.
Right. And Mowgli and Bagheera are uniting together to fight off against these pirates who we saw from last issue. I love the artwork in this story. And they go after them, and Mowgli she kicks ass in this book. No doubt about it. And as the issue continues on,
the bears attack, and Baloo exerts his dominance, and basically to lead it's hard to explain, but in order for him to lead the bears, the tribe, he has to kill Mowgli, or Mowgli has to kill him, and then she leads the tribe.
I was sad seeing this. That happened, the fight.
The ending was definitely heartbreaking.
It was heart-touching.
If you look at this page, they actually do a flashback here,
I'll show it.
Way back when, where Baloo was kind of training Mowgli, and he claims he's tired. It's time for Mowgli to take her rightful place, and
she didn't want to do it, but
she ended up having to, and she banished the bears to a safe place on the island.
This book almost brought me to tears just seeing that. Just wow.
So in order to bring peace, she had to actually, spoiler alert, kill Baloo, and tell the bears to find a nice place for themselves away from everybody and to just stay there and not to bother anyone.
The whole series gets a definite 5 out of 5.
Jungle Book
Trade
Volume
paperback.
1, 2, and now Volume 3 were all three excellent reads and definitely something I could recommend. As you see, Michael read and reviewed the book, but I also was reading it while Michael was. Loved Jungle Book. I would definitely highly recommend checking out all 3 volumes. They are, the first 2 volumes are already in trade paperback, and this one I'm very sure will be following quickly behind. I think maybe in a week or 2 there'll be a trade paperback for Jungle Book. I definitely recommend getting all 3. It's an excellent series. I love it.
Okay, so that's Image now.
Finally, now, Invincible 119. In the last issue, Tara stopped breathing. So Mark and Eve run her to the hospital. And at the hospital, you know, Eve, they both were not allowed to go into the hospital. And at first, the doctor doesn't even want to treat Tara because he finds out that she's half Viltrumite. And they don't treat Viltrumites. And after getting pissed off and threatening the doctor, he takes the baby in, and Mark is just losing it. You know, he blames his brother's girlfriend for poisoning them with the food. There's a little bit of a, not an argument, so to speak, but if you read the book, you'll understand. And then it turns out that he apologizes, but he's just, you know, he's very worried about his daughter. And then it turns out that he was kind of right in a way. Certain foods affected Eve's breast milk, which affected the baby. So the doctor put them on a like a dietary supplement so they could eat foods that are at least similar to Earth food as they're getting used to the newer food on the planet. Whereas Mark, who is a Viltrumite, he can eat anything and be fine. Humans have a harder time, you know, dealing with certain foods, alien foods. And the fight between Beastman and I forget his Thang. Shit. His name is Thrag. Is still raging on. Every issue for the past couple of issues now, we've been getting pages here and there of the fight. It's been days. There's a spy that's been spying on them, and it's been days since the fight began. And I forget the guy that's running the city, but the mayor basically wants... Mark can't live there, honestly, for free, because then he's worried the bureaucrats will start saying something. So instead, he gives Mark kind of like a spy job. So Mark is basically going to be an undercover spy for the leader. And you can see that he's having a hard time adjusting to this alien world. And also, finally, him and Eve, skipping a bunch of dialogue in the middle, have that talk about what happened to him, and she says, it wasn't your fault, Mark. It's going to take time for him to get over things, obviously, but they're going to get through it together. So in the end, you know, they come together as a family, and then something, or somebody comes knocking at the door, and this is going to lead into, I have a feeling, the Beast and Thrag fight. And basically Mark's getting pulled right back into the fray, even though he said he didn't want to be involved in anything that would threaten his, you know, well-being because he has a family now. Looks like it's not going to matter, that he's going to have to possibly get involved somewhere. So, excellent book. Invincible is definitely a fun book to read each and every month from Image.
Alright, so now let's get into some digital books.
Starting from Boom Studios, Big Trouble in Little China, issue number 10.
Yeah, we're in the double digits now, and it starts off with, why do I forget the main character's name? Oh,
Jack.
Wow. Jack, thank you. Jack, it starts off a little bit random where Jack is playing like the well, let me just explain. He's in hell and he wants to try to escape from hell ever since what the Emperor Lopan did to him. So he plays cards against these demons saying, if I win, you're going to tell me how to escape from hell. And if he lost, well, then he wouldn't. So when he wins, they said his way to escape from hell is to go to the Hitler statue where it says, that's no exit, that's the exit. So he goes there. And meanwhile, we go back to where that guy who claims that he could resurrect people, you could definitely read that for yourselves to see. It was kind of a little eh. But he makes it out of there, Jack, out of the portal. and he encounters with Lopan, you know, when they were about to fight, and then he's like saying, I knew I should have put that, the no exit would be a giveaway, because he thought that people would take it seriously. So they fight at this bar, and when it gets a little bit out of control, there's this, I love how when the bartender comes, and then he's like saying, like, wait, I'll show you where. Keep going. Yeah, like, who's responsible for this mess? And they both point at each other, saying that, you know, all this and that will happen. And in the end, they wound up washing dishes, saying, I hate washing dishes. It was the funniest random issue I've ever read, but it was really good. I'm glad that he found his way out of hell, but it has to find his way back into the real world, which is going to probably take a little bit of time, but funny book. Really good.
Alright, next we got Dynamite, or King Dynamite.
Yeah.
Jungle Gym issue number 3.
And I don't know if it's just me, but it's heavy dialogue. Like, it just focuses on, I know it's a Jungle Gym book based on the Flash Gordon series and all that other stuff, but it just focuses on him where he's trying to find out more information at this territory, and then he's once again explaining how he, you know, became, you know, like where he was and to now, like, you know, like from his animal form to his human form. And then we do get Emperor Ming, who does appear in this issue, and if you want to find out what that is, definitely read the book. So he's in the middle of this fight that's outrage from Emperor Ming, who actually was behind all this, and he joins the fight. And now that that happened, things get a little bit dicey at the end of this book. So it's okay. Like, I'm not, like, I'm giving it an average of an okay.
Alright, Blood Queen versus Dracula, issue number 3. This was an excellent book. In the last issue, the Blood Queen tried to assassinate Dracula, tricked him into thinking they should combine forces, brought him out into the woods, and then Dracula basically discovered that it was basically an ambush. And basically overpowered everybody who tried to take him down, and turned the 2 witches that were Blood Queen's witches, or the Blood Witches that were Blood Queen's apprentices, into vampires. Now we go to Blood Queen, and she finds out really quickly, without spoiling too much, that Dracula found out her plans, because she gets attacked by bats. And then her castle also gets attacked, and a lot of people, all of the people that basically are her knights, everything dead. And then that's long while later, she actually is confronted by her 2 apprentices that are now vampires. I'm skipping a part where it's outside the castle. You got to read the book to find that out. So after some hefty dialogue back and forth, where Blood Queen actually apologizes for letting that happen, letting her apprentices be turned by Dracula, fight ensues. One dies. Other one, I really love the dialogue. I don't want to give too much away, but she thinks she's actually stronger than the Blood Queen because she's now half vampire. And it turns out she shows her power by basically freezing her in time. She can't move, she can't do anything. However, she can still see and hear. And Blood Queen just makes quick work of her. And in the end, she is confronted by Dracula finally. And let's just say by the end of the issue, I know that this isn't going to happen, but things don't look too good for Elizabeth either.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, this was an excellent art book. I left out a lot of dialogue on purpose.
In the next issue.
I left out a lot of dialogue on purpose because the dialogue is really, really well done in this issue. I really love Blood Queen versus Dracula. I love the first volume of Blood Queen. I would definitely recommend checking this out from Dynamite. Excellent read each and every month. And like Mike said, the next book is the grand finale. Now we are going into Dark Horse. Mm-hmm. The final issue of Conan and Red Sonja. I actually looked through this myself. Yes. It was excellent.
I really liked it. Like, from last issue, we found out that the wizard wanted Red Sonja to kill Conan, and she refuses to do that.
I told you she was going to do that.
I knew she would, kind of, because, you know, it's the book, hello. And there's the blood root that's infecting both Conan and Red Sonja. So Red Sonja, well, actually Conan did something really awesome, getting the wizard by just yanking the whole thing off, and I even felt that when I was reading. Like, ow! Like, imagine all that needle and stuff that's in there, or thorns. And then it turns out in the end, it's where Conan and Red Sonja, with the portal that's open, are now going up against Bloodroot. Amazing artwork, by the way.
Oh, yes.
And the fight was amazing. Like, they worked together, and basically with their sword, they took it out.
They destroyed it.
And then there was a blood rain that came in, and that was the end of the whole Bloodroot of what happened. And then at the end, you know, they just walk off, and like the book says, the world will not see
the likes of them again. The Barbarian and the She-Devil.
Yeah.
This was an excellent book.
The
artwork is really good.
Yeah,
also.
I would definitely say for that, it definitely is a recommended trade paperback for both Conan and Red Sonja. Gail Simone did an amazing job. She's a great writer. It's just
definitely
amazing.
All right, next we got Captain Midnight.
Yep.
Issue number 22 with X in it.
Yeah, and in Captain Midnight, they're still going up against, or trying to look for, the Archon. So Captain Midnight, X, and Helios are going up against the Archine's, whatchamacallit, team. And,
whoa.
Yeah, X really kills one of the people who's going to give evidence to Captain Midnight. And then X just says, you know what, I'm tired of listening to your rules, just go. And he goes back to his world, not his world, like his place. And we get this villain who technically is very, very powerful. And I don't know if that's the Archon. I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't know who it is, but I think it is. And then when everyone thinks, oh no, it isn't, because when back at the base, where Charlotte thought that Captain Midnight returned after the whole conversation of what Helios did, and there was a little bit of backstory about the Archine, and there's just a whole bunch of dialogue that you definitely have to read the book. So back at the Secret Squadron base, the Archine comes to their lair and says, we're here and we're going to take the spaceship. And if you don't give us the spaceship, we're going to destroy you.
The end.
The Archine versus everybody. Really great way to close out the chapter and leave us on a cliffhanger. Because Captain Midnight's doing really amazing.
Now, unfortunately, not in physical form this time, but it will be next time. I actually got it from a different store. I didn't get it from Midtown, like I said, on the haul. And unfortunately, it's still in transit. I do have it, but it's in transit. So I'm going to review this for the sake of the indie review sake. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 45. This is the aftermath to Donatello's death, or so we thought. Huge spoilers here. I know this is a sold-out book. It's very hard to get your hands on this. And issue 44. Don't worry, like I said during the haul video, in a year or two, I promise you guys, you'll find it for a reasonable price on eBay. Might show back up on Midtown. There might be a second printing, and once there's a second printing, the first printing isn't worth as much as it would be if it was just a single printing. Anyway, Fugitoid. Well, we start off with Donatello, and we get some different artwork. I like it. Donatello's in limbo, and he comes face-to-face with his mother, and it's different artwork than the main book. In the main book, Fugitoid comes back to Earth to tell Donatello that they succeeded, that Krang is a prisoner, yada yada, and then he finds out that he sees everybody mourning Donnie because they all believe he's dead. Fugitoid checks him and says he's not dead. Spoiler alert, he is dying, but they need to get him into a freezer to slow down his metabolism and basically prevent him from dying. Fugitoid also takes Harold because he's going to need Harold if there's going to be a chance for them to save Donatello. And when Splinter hears he's still alive, he meditates himself into limbo, and he goes into this really awesome artwork, this different artwork, and now he is traveling through a maze to get to where his son is, where Donatello is, which is, he is in the middle of the maze. And Donatello has two paths, the path to the light, which is obviously death, and the path through shadow, which obviously will bring him back to life. His mother says both paths will have good outcomes, will be, things will work out in both. the Foot Clan is now dealing with the fact that they believe that Shredder is gone. And Cowrie says, even if Shredder is dead, the Foot Clan will still move on. My grandfather may be gone, but know this, the Foot Clan is not. So she's still leading the Foot Clan. You got Casey still keeping the streets clean, which I like that.
Yeah.
And then he finds something out about his father later on, which will play into, obviously, the next issue. It looks like his father might be falling off the wagon again. Finally, we find out, we see Fugitoid and Harold working on something. We don't know what. Raphael kind of loses it, blaming himself and the others for choosing to fight Krang instead of facing Shredder first, because if they would have, this might not have happened. And I love how Mikey finally just stands up and says, you know what, Raph? Shut up. If Donatello was awake right now, he'd be happy about what we did. He would be ecstatic that we actually were able to stop Krang. And they also believe that Shredder is possibly dead. So Raph kind of walks off in a huff. Shredder is still alive, very much alive, and is not a prisoner, but Baxter Stockman basically saved him because he wants the Foot Clan's resources and money to do something. We don't know what yet. And at first, Shredder's not for it, and then when he sees the resources that Baxter Stockman has, he says, fine, I see you kind of have the upper hand here. He basically says, we'll discuss this partnership with you after we deal with one matter first, and that's the Turtles and Splinter. The rest of the book focuses on Donnie in limbo. Basically, Splinter reaches out to him and tells him he needs to come back, and he brings him back. However, in bringing Donnie back, he is alive. Obviously, we know Donnie's alive. He's just in a comatose state. How he comes back, though, this last page, I will not spoil until the next comic book review that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 46 will be in. Let's just say Donatello is back. However, it's not what it seems, and it looks like until things fix up, this might be where Donatello is. And that's what I'm going to leave off with for 45. Excellent issue. All the issues from issue 45 on will be leading up to the grand finale of issue 50. So I'm looking forward to a lot of really great things with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Book of the week, book of the month. Excellent artwork on both sides and excellent story. I recommend the series highly. If you guys haven't been reading it, start from the trade paperback, volume 1, and work your way up to where we're at now. You will not be disappointed. Everybody who's done that has come back and told me this was the best recommendation that I have ever given, and trust me, if you haven't tried it yet, try it and you will understand why. It's not a kid book, it's not an adult book, it's a perfect book. It's for everybody. Not for little kids though, but it's for everybody, teenager and above, or young teen and above. With that, that's it for this indie review, guys. As always, don't forget to check out Comic Related, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, and Frontline Gaming Zone. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. And until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.